spooky shorts.
They say the lake was cursed long before the village was built. Silent, black as obsidian, it reflected no stars, only the eyes of those it had taken. No one dared venture out onto the water or even fish in its depths. The villagers lived in fear of the day the curse would claim them. Her head snapped up, and he could see her eyes, wide and glistening, like chips of obsidian. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. Instead, there was a rush of water as she sank slowly into the lake. Her arms and legs flailed wildly, and then she was gone. Only the reeds remained, floating on the surface of the water. For a moment, Otter stood frozen, staring at the spot where she had disappeared. Then, driven by an unseen force, he took a step forward. One by one, he pulled the reeds from the lake, and with each one he pulled, the water around them turned black and viscous, like ink seeping into his skin. He kept pulling until every reed was in his hands, until the entire surface of the lake was black and empty. And then he heard the second voice. It rose from the depths, begging, screaming, then laughing beneath the black water. The last thing he remembered was the taste of mud and the sensation of being pulled under. One evening, a weary traveler named Otter stumbled upon the village. No trace of Otter or the woman was ever found, and the lake remained silent, reflecting no stars, only the eyes of those it had taken. Huddled around a fire in the fading light sat a group of people whose faces lit up at the sight of him. No wind ruffled the surface, yet the reeds by the shore danced gracefully, as if bowing to some unseen presence. The sound he had heard grew louder with every step, taking on a human quality that sent a shiver down his spine. Then he saw her. At first, he thought she were a statue, so still was she, so perfectly did she blend with the darkness. But as he drew closer, he saw that she was real, or as real as a corpse could be. Her skin was the color of alabaster, her hair a tangle of seaweed and driftwood. She wore a gown of woven reeds, and her arms and legs were bare. Where she had been lying, the ground was soft and wet, as if she had been dragged from the lake recently. With a start, Otter realized that the reeds in her hair were not part of the statue. They were alive. They twitched and swayed, and through them, he could see the faint outline of a face. It was the face of a young woman, beautiful, sad, and utterly still. "You look tired," one of them said, holding out a hand. "Come, share our fire." Hesitantly, Otter accepted their invitation. Soon enough, he was seated among them, sharing stories and laughter. But as the night wore on, he noticed a strange reluctance in their eyes whenever the conversation turned to the lake. When one of the villagers broke the silence. "Do you hear that?" he asked. It was a low, mournful sound that seemed to come from the very depths of the lake. The man's face drained of color. "The drowned woman," he whispered, scrambling to his feet. "She's calling." Otter felt a chill run down his spine, but more from the man's terror than the sound itself. "It's just the wind," he said, trying to sound reassuring. But even as he spoke, the hairs on the back of his neck prickled with unease. The villagers did not stay to argue. They fled, one by one, disappearing into the maze of dark houses. Left alone by the fire, Otter felt a sudden, inexplicable urge to find the source of the sound. Curiosity warred with common sense, and curiosity won. He walked toward the lake, its surface as still and as black as a pane of obsidian. Hesitantly, Otter reached out to touch her, and as his fingers brushed against her arm, cold as ice, the reeds in her hair rustled violently. When the villagers returned to the lake the next morning, they found only his cloak tangled in the reeds. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next spooky short, because the next one might be watching you.